Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and this is going to be another set DC Comics New 52 reviews. I hope you'll bear with me as I'm not feeling too well as I record these, but we'll be getting started with Action Comics number 5. This issue begins a 2-issue interlude that, as it opens, flashes back on Jor-El, Lara, Baby Kal-El, and Krypto amidst the chaos of Krypton crashing in on itself. And already on page 1, we find that Superman's cape goes all the way back to his grandfather, which is a great little piece of new history, if you ask me. Jor-El's plan at first is to enter the Phantom Zone as a means of escape, but when he opens the portal, there awaiting him is a brood of Kryptonian villains and criminals, being led in all likelihood by Zod. Zod somehow is able to break his hand out through the portal, but Krypto leaps up and bites Zod's hand, resulting in both of them being pulled back through and causing the portal to shatter. The only alternative at this point is the Escape Arc prototype rocket ship of Jor-El's own design, but it's only big enough to carry one small life form, and Lara and Jor-El bravely resolve to stay behind as he fires up the engines and orders the AI, Brainiac, to find a world with a younger, fiercer son that will allow Kal-El, who's going in their stead, to grow strong. And soon thereafter, their young child is carried away that he might live as the world of his birth dies. We follow the rocket to Earth, where it crashes nearby to where Jonathan and Martha Kent have been temporarily stuck out in the middle of nowhere with engine trouble. They go looking to see what it is, and when they realize it's a baby in a rocket ship, they resolve to kind of adopt him. We're told by some of Martha's words previous to this that they've tried to have a child again and again and can't. As the military closes in on the ship, the AI goes into shutdown mode, and by way of getting past the troops, Jonathan has wrapped up the corpse of a deformed calf that died not too long before in fabric from the ship. Presumably, this lets them off the hook, and they go on their merry way. We see that the government does tests on the vessel, and that the AI doesn't awaken until it's in the presence of Clark years later, when he's captured in issue number 2 and stumbles onto it. But as we near the end of the book, the story takes an interesting turn, and it seems that the ship has grown a crystal-like outer shell and is being contained within the Fortress of Solitude sometime later, yet prior to its shielding against time-traveling enemies, which is proven shortly thereafter by a group of them coming to steal something integral to Superman's defeat, just as another group has come to stop them. There's also a short little secondary story about Jonathan and Martha, showing us their marriage and all of the attempts and misfires in trying to have a child up until that fateful night they found Kal-El. It's definitely interesting stuff, but I find myself wanting to know more and more about what happened to the Kents, because as it stands now in this new 52 era, in Action Comics and the Superman title, they were already dead and gone, and it doesn't seem like that was too long ago, so I'm hoping we get an explanation somewhere down the line. As for showing a page in the issue, I love the moment when Jonathan and Martha are stopped by the military's checkpoint, and they show them the alien corpse that they found, which is actually that of the deformed sheep. This plays hilariously into the scene from issue number 2, when Lex thinks he's got Superman one-upped, and shows him the body of what he assumes the alien species that Superman is looks like. Really, really funny stuff. And as for rating this issue, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. I really loved the first, 3/4 of it, but then that sort of sharp left turn in the story toward the end, which I know will follow through into the next issue, just kind of came out of nowhere for me. But it was still a really good issue. And that'll actually get us moving on to Detective Comics number 5. This issue basically begins a new arc that follows off some of what has been set up in the previous 4 issues. As a result of Joker's lying low and the very skin of his face being sheared off, a group of Gothamites have taken to rallying, wearing clown masks and chanting the likes of "Down with Batman," which Bats notes is because they blame him for the Joker's being AWOL, and that the mayor will do nothing about them as it's nearing election time, lest he lose valuable votes, and add to that part of his platform is to get rid of Batman. But what the Dark Knight is after is a guy by the name of Axel Bellamy, who's involved in the hijacking of a vehicle carrying hazardous chemicals. This leads him to a shady deal being done in a nearby alleyway between Bellamy and the small potatoes thug named Gorky. Just as soon as Batman comes upon the scene, another guy, decked out in a clown mask and wielding a couple of daggers, also enters the fray, taking out 2 of Gorky's guys with ease and holding his own against the Dark Knight with jujitsu. The wily menace makes an escape after spraying Batman's cowl with acid, which luckily can't eat through the material, and Batman gives chase soon thereafter. He's led through the crowd of rallying crazies, and at first they mock him as being just another protester but in the wrong costume. But soon they realize he must be the real deal, and when it's too late for them to do anything about it, he gets away. Batman just misses the new foe, who escapes by boat, and the only clue left behind is a poker chip from the Iceberg Casino, which is having its grand opening that very night. Some miles up the harbor, we meet Mr. Mosaic, an incredibly handsome thug, waiting for presumably the same guy that just got away from Batman, who's meant to deliver $20,000. Instead, the guy puts a gun to Mosaic's head and makes off with a VIP voucher to the casino and Mosaic's car. As the story comes to a close, we find Bruce's reporter girlfriend, Charlotte, that we've seen in previous issues, is apparently setting up to go undercover at the casino, and that she's been witnessed getting into maid attire by the very man we've been waiting to see via the cover. Although there's an interesting B story in the back of the book to do with the son of one of Batman's most notable foes, who's working in concert with Catwoman to bring home a lesson on how Gotham's underbelly works where it pertains to certain criminals, and I'll leave it there. As for showing a page in the issue, I'm actually going to go with that B-line story because there's this brilliant two-page spread of Catwoman as she's just about to pound these thugs in front of Hugo Strange's son, and I'm really wondering exactly where this is going to go, if they're going to play into this in further issues. And as for rating the issue, I'm definitely going 4 out of 5. The A story and the B story were both some interesting stuff, and it definitely leaves me wanting more. I'm hoping to see just how far down the rabbit hole we go with the Penguin and how deeply he gets involved in this story arc. But that's going to actually do it for this group of DC Comics New 52 reviews. I hope you'll stay tuned because there are more to come as they are available. And otherwise, I hope this video finds you well. So that'll be it for me, and I'll catch you later. Peace.